update. Got the interior panels in tonight. They look kind of silly because, or shabby because they got this protective paper over them. I'm gonna leave that on because they're gonna come back out, go on the shelf until we're putting the airplane together for the final time. But I wanted to put them in now because, as you can see, I can see where everything is, and you had to drill through the metal and hit just right, and not hit these tubes or fuel lines or anything. So if we do them later at the very end, then we have fabric over here and we can't see anything and reach in and out and do all these things. So I did it now. I think that's the way to go, and that was based off advice from other folks. Anyway, it looks really cool. It's really sweet carbon fiber. Even got this built-in cup holder on the right side here. It's pretty sick. I just started, as the instructions say, I just started right here around the fuel selector and then set all the panels off that. But I had to do very little trimming. I think I had to do a little bit around that weld there and a tiny bit down here to get this to set centered on the fuel selector. But yeah, this is where the fuel selector will go. That knob goes here. Gorgeous pieces there. And then I drilled it with a number 9 drill bit instead of the number 10 it says in the diagrams. And the reason I did that is because on the forums, Dave Embry, who's built a bunch of these, mentioned that needs to be number 9. Used a number 9 and it worked out perfect. These are the fasteners that hold it in. I wanted to put one in to see what it was like. Pretty clean finish there, and you can see the carbon. Just gorgeous. So anyway, drilled with the number 9, cleat-code where it needed to go. It also allowed me to set my rear fairleads for the cables. So we got those in. That one needed to be higher because I want the cable to ride on the fairlead and not touch this tube on the fuselage here. So I'm actually short. I don't have very many of these gold cleat-codes, so there's quite a bit more holes in here than what it shows. Also, I didn't notice in the instructions, maybe I'm just an idiot, but I kind of scratched in my head on how to attach this panel clean, have it nice and clean. And the pictures aren't super clear on the instructions in the manual. I didn't notice anything in type, but this panel goes inside this flange, inside the frame. And it's a sweet, nice, clean fit. I didn't have to trim any, actually I had to do a tiny bit of trim here around this weld to get that to sit up where it needed to be, but everything fit fantastic. So that's pretty cool. And then also I put in this this bar right here. There's a seat, a sling seat, which is like a hammock seat that wraps around this and then hangs from the roof. And it's so you can pull this bar in and out real quick to get to your cargo, or just have it out to have more cargo or whatever. And you have to router in these holes and use my Dremel tool. It's like almost like a keyway here, so you can pull that bar in and out when you need to. You can see this keyway, and I just use the same. Just use that as a template, super simple. And I just use the same Dremel router bit that I used for the floor. Worked fantastic. I don't really have much to say. It's pretty self-explanatory. I was a little nervous to do it because these beautiful carbon fiber panels here, I didn't want to mess up. It all went really well. So yeah, that's cool. Also, when I drilled my holes, I ended up drilling most of them from the outside in. Like I said, it was easier for me to see what not to hit. And then I used a block of wood to hold on the inside and drilled from the outside in. And it's just a trick I learned a while ago, and it works really well for being able to hold these they're really flimsy. So you can imagine if you put a lot of pressure on a drill bit, it's gonna bend things out of the way and they're not gonna line up and be just right. So this worked for me. I put a piece of block of wood against where I was gonna drill and drilled into. And you could use your fingers and your hands, but I've hit my hands before, you know, a thin piece of metal or carbon, the drill bit could just go wham right through and hit you right in the fingers. So anyway, not a bad idea to use block wood. I did end up putting these, when I was putting these in, I ended up changing this fuel line. I had this fuel line going outside of this bar here. I changed it to the inside and up. What I was trying to do was avoid any low spots and avoid the panel. I didn't quite know where things went, but I think the panel, it looks like the panel is going to go right here. So this will kind of go up this crack here. And I think that's going to work out just fine. I think there's wiring and stuff that goes up here in a later step too. Anyway, that was a change I made from my previous fuel line video. And then on my jack screw video, I changed this wire. It's kind of like you do something and then you go to bed at night and you start thinking about it. And you're like, man, I got to do that right. I want to do it better. So I took all the wiring apart on here, and for some reason, I had this jumper going here around this piece here to kind of make a tighter loop. But I decided I'm going to go this way with it, and that'll clear these cables a little better back here, so there'll be no chance of it rubbing. I don't think it would have rubbed anyway, but I'm just kind of going the extra mile to make it right. So yeah, there we go. I'll go ahead and finish riveting in these where these silver Clecos are, pull all these gold ones out, set these on the shelf, and wait till we're final assembly. But yeah, pretty stoked about that. Oh, and one more thing. I bought a bunch of these pockets based off what people are doing online, and they're these neat little net pockets, real similar to the ones that are in the Jeep actually. And you can put these here. One nice thing about experimental is you can do stuff like this. I'm kind of torn on it though, because for one, these mesh net things end up getting really saggy and wore out. The ones in the Jeep are notorious for wearing out. So put these in, put holes in my airplane, and have them wear out. Another thing is they go right here. Well, the rear passenger, which at some point will be me teaching people how to fly, namely my family, my daughter and my son if he shows interest. The pedal's right here, so my knee is going to be right here with a bunch of stuff in there. So I'm just kind of torn on that. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Should I put a bunch of these pockets in or leave it the way it is? All right. Now the next step over here, time to build the firewall boot cowl. So this is a firewall is the piece of metal that separates the engine from the cockpit, and I'm going to build a metal cowling around that and set that on the front of the airplane. All right, on to the next step.